So here we are with the co-owners of Ohana BJJ in Bangkok. We have Emma, we have Steven. Thank you very much for, first of all, allowing me to be in your absolutely gorgeous facilities. And also thank you for letting me share the little of my knowledge that I have accumulated during these years. I'm very grateful for it. And for the last one, thank you again for introducing me to Arno into the competition at the beginning of the month. Without them, I wouldn't even have that competition under my belt, if you want to say so. So just quickly, you give a short CV, resume, depending how you want to call it, who you are, what's your hobbies and passion, and how did you end up in Bangkok?
Oh, right.
Trickery.
Yeah, it's feeling that way. I'm Irish, Stephen is Northern Irish.
Okay.
But I've been here for over 15 years now in Bangkok. I'm actually a gymologist, and my son started doing jiu-jitsu as a way to prevent kind of bullying that was going on in school, and he loved it so much. He was at every kid's class, and I was sat there going, well, I'm here 4 times a week anyway, so I might as well join in. And at some point I started helping out with kids classes, and that is a giant mistake. Never help with kids classes, or you will end up accidentally co-owning a gym at Blue Belt, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, that's what I get for my sins.
Do you remember there was a little thing, I can't remember who posted it recently, and it was, somebody said like their coach, he said, oh, I got my Blue Belt like a week ago or something like that, and the coach sent me a message asking if it was free to talk. What could it be? And somebody commented, I hope you like teaching kids class.
It's kind of a step.
It's
as
the
soon as you get
biggest
that
scam in jiu-jitsu.
Also, I have a theory. The reason they do that is because they like you. They don't want you to disappear. Because that's the second myth of the blue belts.
Yeah.
1, they teach in kids class. 2, they disappear as soon as they get the blue belt. So.
That's it.
If you don't want me to stick around, you'll put on a kids class. I know that it's an entirely different skill set. Do you like do kids class?
To be honest, as a wrestler,
yeah.
it comes with a lot of more screaming, a lot more discipline, and the parents, they kind of accept it more than in jiu-jitsu. So my wrestling classes with the kids were smooth.
Ooh, nice.
The kids loved the class, and they listened to what I said, because I can give you a small tip for kids classes. Never punish the bad kid, punish everybody. Make them do an exercise they hate, and every time they do something, just cut it, do that. And there's another thing you can have them by the tip of your fingers with games. Have a game every single class at the end of the class, and if they don't behave, you just say them, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, no more game class at the end of the class. And guess what? They start behaving. And to be honest, me personally, I really enjoy the kids classes. But I'm going to be honest with you, I never enjoyed the jiu-jitsu one, the kids classes with jiu-jitsu, because I feel like in jiu-jitsu, because the parents, they expect everybody to be more relaxed, they kind of expect you to be more laid back and let the kids kind of do whatever. In wrestling, they kind of accept this, oh, he's Eastern European, Soviet bloc, blah, 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 so he's going to keep them straight. Exactly, the culture is way different, so yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are so known for yourself, so you're
I'm probably the only one. Stephen?
We were lucky in that we don't do kids class, because there's no schools around
That's
here.
also fair.
There's one, which is the Mater Dei thing, so it's really...
A very traditional girls' school.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and grappling, and that's not going to happen.
My parents aren't like
And then,
girls.
but that's the only school within like a sort of 1 mile radius of us.
Yep, so when we moved to this location, what we focus on is teenagers though. We have a lot of teenage boys, and as the owner of one of those teenage boys, I really see the value in it.
Parent.
Yes. Parent. Is that you sure?
Yeah.
Jeez, I could have thought about it. It's expensive enough. But the teenage boys seem to be
I think it's also the perfect target, because for me, wrestling is great to find them really young, but they're a bit hard to control in this environment where everybody's a bit more laid back. But as a teenager, because they're coming sometime from that bullied background, and they're coming really motivated to get better and to learn. And I feel like especially teenage boys, also girls, they find themselves, girls usually when they get to 17, 18, 19, they find themselves easier into jiu-jitsu than young girls. Young girls, they don't enjoy it that much, but as soon as they get to the late teenage and the young, I don't know how they call it, young adults kind of age, they kind of drive back to jiu-jitsu and to combat sports.
Well, one of the things we have done here is we do a Sunday series for teenage girls during term time, and that where it's just their energy, their space, because they become so sensitive
That's
to being
fantastic
around
too, yeah.
boys at that time.
Yeah.
That would do small group series of 6 weeks, and that has been that's kind of a nicer way to deal with it when they get self-conscious like that.
That sounds amazing.
There's more specifically to that, it's like there's no men or boys at all during that, so
It's a
there's
different
no other
freedom.
classes during the day, so it's Emma will take it, it's females only, the mothers will bring them this, that. So it's not as if there's ever going to be the end of class, you run 10 minutes over, and then all of a sudden there's a group class, 30 minutes later, and there's a pile of men arrive or anything like that. It's completely sealed off.
Yes.
Either end, because the whole day is empty, aside from that.
Yeah, we create a little bubble.
And it gives you a 7-day week, which I know you love.
I do.
It's,
Never enough.
And would you say that part of yourself being a woman and a BJJ practitioner kind of pushed you to do that class? That was mainly the inspiration for it because you kind of feel that they need it, or was just kind of you saw it in class and was like, that's a good idea?
It was, I had friends of mine asking, and my own friends looked at this sport and went, we wouldn't do it ourselves. They, there's a lot of things that close contact bothered them, but they wanted something for their daughters. So it was a case of just adapting it and saying, okay, well, there won't be any either teenage boys or males around at all. And then it became more accessible, and they were able then to sign up other parents to do the same as well. So that's where we kind of had a space for it to grow a little bit.
And I think it's also great that you kind of, I guess you're teaching that class, so they have that female instructor to kind of
honestly
teach.
The hardest thing with them, but they were great fun and they'd get in and they'd wrestle and they had no problem with the grappling part of it. The hardest thing was getting them to be able to confidently say no. I found that we involved it, made that part of it, and from week 1 to week 6 we just go over this confident, shoulders back, no. And
But do you think that's part also of Thai culture?
yes.
So it's mainly because of the Thai culture, yeah?
Partly that female culture, being taught to be polite. There's a time when you need to not be polite.
Exactly.
Luckily you
100%.
figured that out.
I'm the expert for not being polite when needed.
What part of Ireland are you from?
Dublin.
We love Dublin. Both of my wife, we've been over there twice. And I will say that what I love the most about Dublin is the vibe. I mean, it's so high paced, but so friendly at the same time. It's kind of insane. I never found that in London, to be honest. It's only the high pace and the occasional, hey, F off or whatever in the tube.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But in Ireland, as a foreigner, I always felt really welcome, and if you stop somebody to ask for a direction, they're always super happy to.
We're very good with foreigners. We're very friendly towards foreigners. It's each other that it's a bit.
Well, I guess that's
in the north even they're super friendly and it's very, very nice. So sometimes I'll go home and I'll just put on an accent and pretend I'm a tourist. And really nice.
Better treatment.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try that here. Well, he has to tone it down because our membership's it's over 50% Thai, which has been really interesting for us, is getting Thai young professionals into this as a sport, because traditionally Thailand, of course, is Muay Thai. You get a lot of MMA.
Yes.
And judo is very popular here because you can use it to get into college. So the parents like to put their kids into it. You can get a college scholarship, and with jiu-jitsu, it's trying to convince them that no, try this. This is even more fun than judo for me. And you're going to last longer doing it.
That's gonna be a bit. Controversial in the comments, I guess.
But for Thailand, this is part of it, is exposing them to this sport. I think we got a big bump whenever Zuckerberg mentions it. That helps. We'll get some.
Yeah, I think this kind of publicity of jiu-jitsu is fantastic for everybody. Let me go back to you, Stephen, because we still didn't find out why and how did you end up in Bangkok?
I'm very good at saying an awful lot, but not telling you anything.
You should run for office.
I was living in London.
Okay.
My other half is Thai. She was in California. I was UK, coming back and forth. It was a lot of me flying California, me flying Thailand, her flying here, back and forth. Her father was doing a construction project, he's in real estate. She was moving back here just to spend more time with her parents as they get older. So I was just like, you know what, I'd been in London for 7-8 years. I was like, you know what, I'm kind of over London. Not in the bad way. In that way that I knew it was coming to a natural end, and I still really enjoyed what I did. I still really enjoyed work. I enjoyed everything about it, but it was naturally towards that period where I was like, you know what, I could move on to the next thing. And part of that was helped because I'd seen too many people kind of think, no, I'll stay put, and then you get into that I really don't want to be here anymore phase. And then just moved, and then what did I do for the first couple of years? Not a great deal, to be honest. Did a lot of the stuff with the family, did a lot of stuff with the building and everything else and setting it up. Did all the traveling things, was I figured out, you know, I might as well do it in my 30s than wait till my 70s.
100%. We're kind of doing that right now, so we definitely understand you.
Well, I just kind of thought, and then I was giving her another chance to, you know, her mother and father, I think they were like, you know what, we've got all these places to tick off, and we might die, so we've got to tick them off, and then we can at least do whatever we like again.
100%.
And then, so they've kind of developed more time as well, so it's gone to spend a lot more time, both sides. But that's how I ended up here.
Okay, one thing that I want to mention is under your profile on Ohana BJJ, there's a lot of qualifications, scientific stuff that I don't know what's about. Can you tell me a bit more? What's your experience with that side of your career?
I used to teach people how to move good.
Okay, so I think now you teach them how to move even better.
It's helpful in the whole thing. I really enjoyed it when I did it, and it helped in the terms of, they helped me develop in the terms of how I present and how I coach and how I teach and that sort of thing. And if anything, you're not going to believe this, but they helped make me more concise.
Oh, more concise?
Yes.
We can't have 3.5 hour classes. We've discussed it.
It was terrible. One of the things we do get when people come in here and we get people to cover classes and things, they're like, 2 hours? It's a very long class.
Nah, for me it's amazing.
It's very hard to, you know, because you want to give people enough time. And we did have those, I can understand in London where you have those tight 45-minute classes, because you have to have, because people need to come in, they need to do a thing, they need to, you know, they've got their 1 hour off for lunch, 90 minutes for lunch, they need to come in, change, train, go, shower, leave, eat, work. My brain would break. I just wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or at least I wouldn't enjoy it. And I like the freedom that 2 hours gives you. And then if you feel people need to play a little bit more, whereas if you need that tight window, it's really stressful.
It is.
And it depends what else you're doing. You know, part of the problem for us is she has another full-time job. I have a full-time job. Neither one of us was intending to actually be a coach here at any point.
And I guess much less owners.
It's just turned out that way.
Yeah.
Plus, for me personally, I still travel, not as much as I would be traveling, but I still travel a lot. Like I was gone for 7 weeks, I'm back for a month. I'm away for 2.5 weeks.
You're usually gone for about a third of the year, quarter to.
At least a third, if not half.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot, yeah.
So I'm the operational sort of day-to-day management of it, in that I've managed businesses here before, so I know the back end of things. I'm not claiming to know a damn thing about jiu-jitsu, but the boring side of running a gym is what I get.
And talking about that boring side for a bit, what would you say is the hardest part as a gym owner? To get people in or to retain them once they come in? What would you say is the most challenging as owner, and you as a coach? What would you find is the hardest you can do to make people to stay a bit longer?
Well, actually, it's a really good question, because I think whichever your problem is, it tells you a lot about the ethos of the gym.
Okay.
For us, we are very much friendly gym. If anything, we're probably too friendly. We'll be stood here talking to people at 9 o'clock at night sometimes. But
I wonder who are those people that make you stay that late in the gym.
I will simply say
Yes.
that there were many occasions I'm sitting in London and I message you and you're like, I'm just leaving the gym and it's 9:15.
admittedly, it turned out it wasn't just him, because when he's gone, I end up having the same conversation at 9 o'clock
What
at
was
night with
it?
people.
Tuesday night you're here and you're like 9:40 and you're like, I'm just leaving.
Well, now, in that case, there was two of them. So, but for us, we want to be really friendly, Jim. And the biggest thing for people walking in, and we've both really trained extensively in different countries, different gyms here and there.
I thought you were just going to say
You
the
walk
chats.
No, the chat. Well, we have the
We were
chats.
trained extensively.
We could represent Ireland in the chats. Now, but for people walking in, they get that, what do I do? Even if they're a purple belt and they've been training for 10 years, they walk in and they're unsure of themselves. Who do I
100%.
talk to? Are they going to be friendly? Are they going to be a bunch of arseholes? Which can happen. So if somebody waves at them, welcomes them, shakes their hand, that's it. That's half the job done, really. You make them feel immediately like you're welcome. We're happy to have you. You're not going to have to break into a clique in here. You're very welcome. Come join us. So for us, it's getting people, especially in Thailand, to know what is Jiu Jitsu.
Okay.
I mean, if you're talking to a taxi driver and you say you do Jiu Jitsu, they're going to go, what? And then I go, it's like judo. And they're like, oh, judo. Oh, chaya.
Okay.
So I think. Anyway,
We had this little bit of a chat earlier. It's like a lot of them now, and I know the old guard of jiu-jitsu, and they get a bit roughly at this. I would say a solid 8 out of 10 people that come in, they've never heard the name Gracie at all.
Yep.
Not only have they never heard it, they don't care.
No.
They've heard the name Gordon Ryan. They've heard Mark Zuckerberg. They've heard this. They don't care. They're just coming in and they want to have a good time. And they don't want a history lesson. They don't want speeches. And I have noticed one of the greatest detriments would be this massive hard on people have for competition classes.
Okay.
And they do this. There's two things that I have. It's sort of. It's not something to get on my soapbox about, but I do see a lot of them trying to do this sort of the ecological approach that people go on about. There is validity to that. When you have wrestling under your belt, you have coaching under your belt, you have jiu-jitsu under your belt, you can do an ecological approach to things because you have a huge base of knowledge to work off. If you are brand new and you're trying to figure it out, that's how you'll hurt yourself.
You call it ecological approach?
Yeah.
How would you define the ecological approach?
So I remember
Because I think it's the first time that I heard about the term. So
somebody who knows far more about it than me, and his name escapes me, but I'm sure if somebody looks it up, they'll know what it is. And he described it as there is, let's say, full kind of sparring,
Okay.
where it's knowledgeable, and then there is drilling, as in where you're going through things with fluidity, and then there's this bit in the middle where it's sort of, what would you call it?
positional sparring.
No, it's like somewhere between you have drilling, positional, then full sparring, and it occupies this little space in
Okay.
here where there's limitations. Like let's say your objective is to simply get to this position. Maybe all I have to do is beat your knee line and get to your hips and then stop and we reset.
Okay.
So you're kind of
So it's
figuring
super
those-
specific, like
It's
super targeted, and
super targeted, or
Okay.
you're only trying to work out one thing or this, that, and the other. And I think those things have good pros and good cons.
yes.
But sometimes it can leave you a bit myopic if you are just starting out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
you have that, as you said earlier, the survivorship bias. You have those people who survive in the system. Let's say, for example, say the Rotolo brothers.
Okay.
Outstanding. My body personally could not take that sort of abuse. And I know it couldn't because I put my body through far less and it hasn't held up to far less.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be capable of going through that extent. And I don't know about you as well.
No, I'm
You know.
far to go on. to keep, I can keep the Rotolo pace for exactly 10 seconds, and after that I just collapse.
And then, but again, they've started when they were very young. They've gone through. They've trained themselves.
They basically been born
They were
and
established.
grown and everything happened in the gym for them. I think I'm not sure if you saw that video. They were like 6 or 7 and they were fighting in the living room and they were throwing submissions
They're-
that I wouldn't attempt today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even try to date they were doing when they were like 7, 6 years old. So yeah, now I get it. I really agree with you from this point of view. As a coach, I think I find the same that wrestling, we do that a lot. We kind of in that space a lot, but you can only do that with very high level guys or people with a lot of knowledge. You cannot get them into that ecological approach you said, or you cannot get somebody who's under 4 years as a wrestler, or even 5 years as a wrestler, to get them to understand. The way I like to call it is intensity, not violence. I want you to be 100% intense with 0% violence. That's very hard. That's very hard to explain, and it's very hard to apply for somebody who doesn't have the skills or who doesn't have the experience.
This is true.
Yeah. So what we were talking about earlier is when you look at, if you have a gym that's specifically geared towards competition, that's fine and fair enough, but you better have sponsors. You
100%.
better be very specifically, let's say if you were a stable like say Evolve, where you've got Chattery's the main dude, and he's won championship, he's Evolved, whatever
And he's
else.
the main dude.
And he's there, and he's like, okay, I'll have my fight team, and all they have to worry about is training, eating, sleeping, training, eating, sleeping, and that's it. And that's their person. I have my coaches and whatever else. That makes sense, because he's not then relying on his fight team or his gym to then make. Now, obviously, Evolve as a fitness facility has to make money.
Yeah.
But the actual fight team portion of things, all they have to worry about is being athletes, and they've chosen that. Whereas we find if we have people who, whenever we've had coaches in the past who've decided, no, we're going to comp train. And I think a large part of the problem is they comp train in a way that they've seen it done in a Rocky movie.
Okay.
And there's an assumption about how professional training is done. Or what they've done is, do you remember those like UFC highlight videos?
Yes, when they bash in
The way
back
that
and
works
everything.
is, and I'm sure you're aware, is they go to the person and say, all right, do your maddest shit that looks good for a camera.
100%, yeah.
Nobody needs to see somebody going and doing 3 medicine ball slams and then waiting for 5 minutes for the creatine system to reboot back up so they're at the maximal output again.
100%, yeah.
Nobody needs to do, what people want to see is somebody doing, like say a Tabata, right? A Tabata is 20, 10, 20, 10 for 4 minutes, you do 8 rounds, and then you stop. That's it, that's the protocol, that's what you're meant to do. Not 4 rounds of 4, not 8 rounds of 12, no, don't screw around with it. It was very specific, and that was the thing that has the greatest return on your investment. Any more than that, you're going backwards.
Yeah, you're taxing the nervous system.
You're doing too much. It's almost like people want to test a personal best every day in the gym, and they don't quite understand how things peak and trough. And they do the weirdest stuff without building a foundation of something on top. Like if you're going to do a strength training thing, there's no real reason for you ever to do a personal best, right?
Yes, 100%.
Are you a powerlifter? Like, do you want to hit that?
Yeah.
No. So you don't really need to do anything above and beyond, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of them, they don't really think on the other end of things, and they're doing whatever kind of looks cool and whatever else, and then you're like, oh, it's not working. I'm like, oh, I'm stunned.
Well,
Right.
Stephen has trained though athletes in various sports at the highest level. It's part of his background. So
Yes.
this is,
Yeah, except I said about those scientific qualification that he has that I don't even understand. I just saw kinesiology. I only got the personal trainer part because I'm a personal trainer, but I never declare myself as a personal trainer because I just got the diploma and I teach people how to suplex. Basically, that was my...
Both are very valid.
100%, you still have to kind of deadlift, you know. It's the same motion.
The nice thing
The power snatch.
that I always had with it, and it's the same as in here, is you have different people that complement. So the way we used to work together is it was part of a team. I did the biomechanics and the kinesiology part, and then somebody else would have done the, say, energy systems part, and
Okay.
somebody else would have done the nutritional part, and then I only have to focus on that specific sort of targeted area that I'm good at. But if you were the person that we were training, you would see that person for however long, me for however long, and everybody's different. And it's,
100%.
you know, if you needed to see me for 30 minutes 3 times a week, maybe you need to see her for an hour and 10 minutes twice a week. It's, you know, it's kind of takes.
We're talking also about very high level stuff.
It just
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah.
It depends as to what you're looking at and what outcome you want, really. I
Okay.
mean, if you just came to me and said, I just want to be able to function better, and I want to be able to coach from, how old are you?
35.
If you said to me I want to coach until we had a guy in here a while ago, he was what, 81, and he just got his red belt.
Okay.
And 79 or 81.
He was 79 pushing
79.
80.
And he's still perfectly functional. I'm sure he's injured. Don't get me wrong. But he's still able to do it. He's still able to teach. He's still able to do like
That's the dream.
right.
Yeah.
He's still able to do it at that age. He's a very, very nice man.
He could pass guard pretty quickly too, handily, when
he
he wanted
could.
to.
And those sleep
Worse.
moves, you know, those old school.
He almost split one of our black belts in half.
Wow.
And he was very, very nice, very slow, very methodical. But to more fully answer your question, I think one of the bigger errors that they make is assuming that everyone wants to come in, and there's an old quote that's, God, what is it? Any twat wankle can make somebody sweat, right? Is the exact quote. I can't remember who said it, but it's true. Anybody, I could just tell you, burpees, press-ups, squat jumps, burpees, press-ups, squat jumps. I can make you sweat out your eyeballs. It doesn't matter. I can make you do speed drills and whatever else.
Yeah.
That's not getting you any better at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
No.
No, there's slight difference in wrestling, backflips and somersaults and stuff.
Well, they are.
But the thing is, for us, one of those misconceptions is that we kind of focus on that, or that's part of, like, big part. Most of the times the gymnastics are a separate kind of portion, and you can see like high-level wrestlers, the coach doesn't walk into the gym until the real session starts, and they doing the acrobatics, they doing their own warm-up and all these kind of things. Like myself, as a coach, when I started coaching, I find out that if you have an hour and I do a proper old-school wrestling kind of warm-up, I just 45 minutes they just gone, and I cannot teach you absolutely nothing in 15 minutes. So I kind of have to adjust myself. I always say to the guys and to the ladies that come to my class, I said, try to warm up before. Just come 10 minutes, 15 minutes before, because I'm gonna warm up specifically for what we're doing now. And my warm up, if we're doing double legs, is gonna be level change and shooting with the person in front of you for about a minute or two. You change, and it's gonna be everything super specific, and then we're gonna go into the move. I found really time wasting, and we talked about both of us. We've been living in London, and I guess Dublin is also a pretty busy city as well. You don't have time over there. You have to really use your time, and when you have 2 classes a week, and you have to teach these people how to level change, hand fight, shoot, and everything, and it's super complex. It's the same for jiu-jitsu, I guess. So yeah, I think it's for me. I think, as you said before, there's some coaches, they don't understand the part of coaching. They kind of try to show off, or they kind of coming.
They think if they've left sweat angels under everybody after warm-ups that they've taught a great class.
Yeah. Did you find in your experience a lot of those guys? Or okay, time out. I'm gonna cut that question.
Well, no,
I don't want to put you in any kind of compromise.
Let me jump right in on that one, because our ethos is not to do that. We want to focus. We're a highly technical gym.
Okay.
Well, I do appreciate that there are times where you have to suck wind. Right?
Okay.
There are times where it is important that you don't be, like, say earlier on when we were rolling, it is important that if I'm underneath you, I don't crack. I'm like, Jesus, he's been on me for and then it's important to mentally condition yourself to be able to deal with pressure over time. Right?
And he's talking about my pressure, but he put a hell of a pressure on me before.
I'm going to make a statement, and you're going to make fun of me. I have a tummy ache today. So whenever I go on top of you, and I'm like, oh.
I'm happy to hear that both of us we are in pain in that situation. Yeah, that's amazing.
So I'm a tender, delicate flower.
That shows up the Hello Kitty on the rash guard. By the way, it's absolutely fantastic. I really love this Hello Kitty gear.
It also people see you as very approachable.
Like a tender,
It is.
Friendly black belt.
kitteny thing.
100%, yeah.
But it is all part of the thought of, you know, people feeling welcome. You know what professionals don't want to do is they don't want to do handstands down a mat, you know, in their 40s and pay for the experience. They're here, they want to do jiu-jitsu, and less than 10% want to compete. It could be 5% want to compete.
So we did have a coach for a while who was very, very intense in the terms of the approach he took to competition prep. But by the time people had done 6 weeks of multiple 10-round sessions, by the time they got to the competition, they were fried.
They were done, yeah. Yeah,
and then
100%.
they got to the competition, and I think on the whole, they all shit the bed. It went
terrible, man.
And this is not it's not a critique of a coach or anything like that. It's if you're used to working with people who are operating as, even if you're dealing with super high-end athletes, you are not trying to fry their nervous system in the run-up to a season or a game or a performance. You're trying to fry their, let's say if it's a powerlifter, you are trying to fry their nervous system at the meet. If you are a wrestler, you have your season, right?
Yeah.
Like
Well, in England it's a bit different than in America, because in America they have the folk style, so they have the college season, the high school season. They're a bit more separated. In UK you kind of have 3 or 4 big competition, which includes the English in February, British in June, Scottish and Irish around November,
So
September. So you kind of set those dates in your calendar, and also if you kind of want to do some open international, like the Spanish one or like
so
that.
if you were clever,
Yeah.
you would decide. Here's a question. It's something of a leading question.
Yeah.
But if you decided you go and I'm going to test my personal best and say I'm going to do a deadlift or a bench press or a squat, whatever you're going to do.
100%.
And you go absolutely balls out and you do the heaviest thing you can possibly do, spotters, whatever. How long does it take your nervous system to recover?
Mine?
Yeah.
2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm probably dead.
It's at least a month
Yeah.
for your nervous system to recover to the point that you could possibly do that again. At which point you've now lost a month of growth or a month of potential adaptation because your body's just busy going, holy shit, what did you do to me? I've been in a car crash. Because it doesn't know the difference, you've just ruptured something, right? So it's the same thing. If you decide I'm going to go absolutely to my limit in the run up to the English Open, you're never going to recover in time for the English Open.
No.
And I remember was it Dan Gable?
Yeah.
Who
Poor
said,
guy. Yeah.
he said he used to get up in the middle of the night and row, and he wouldn't drink the day before a competition or whatever. And in his brain, he's now like, I know I was good, but how much better could I have been if I had slept and if I had rested? And I think he lost his last match.
In college,
And
he would
was
have been
like-
unbeaten.
And
Yeah.
his thing was, would I have won that match?
I would even go even further. For me, Dan Gable is one of my heroes, and what I would say about him, which hurts me more than the fact that he lost that match, was the fact that he retired when he was 24, 25 because he was completely destroyed.
Yep.
I mean, I think that for me, imagine a perfectly healthy, scientifically approached Dan Gable to the Olympic game.
Yep.
I don't think he would have surpassed who is my second idol, Buivasa Satiev, which is one of the greatest Olympic wrestlers ever. But he approached that Russian approach, which for me, I'm a massive fan, which sounds logical because I'm Romanian, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just for me, I think, for my style of coaching and in my experience, I kind of figure out that if you slow down and you pace yourself and you time everything correctly, you have to peak in the week of your competition. You cannot be peaking from the beginning until the end, because like even in my own experience, if I train too much, I compete like absolutely horrible. My best competition was like the last one where I just trained.
You didn't even know.
No, I didn't even know.
In and
I did that session on Thursday.
Yep.
That was my first session in 2 months. And I went and I competed on Saturday. Obviously in the pro competition against people they live doing this, I got completely mauled. But then when I went against purple belts, young kids, a bit smaller, let's be honest, I did pretty well and I hung with them from a cardio point of view. But realistically it wasn't cardio because I didn't have any cardio. It was just technique and was the experience.
No, it was just literally you walked into our gym and I was like, you know, there's competition on at the weekend. You got into it.
Yeah, 100%. And as I said, you helped me, you put me in contact with Arno, and Arno was nice enough to to let me barge into his beautifully constructed bracket.
Oh, he made it work. He always does.
Oh my God, he's a legend. He actually let me see how he does all the stuff, and I knew from the beginning, even before I went to competition, I don't have any chance in the pro stuff.
We have had more competition success by not worrying about competition, by just relaxing and saying, if you want to compete, compete. If you don't want to compete, I'm not going to force you to. I know in some gyms, like some people think, oh, I have to compete if I want to get a stripe, get a belt, whatever. I don't care. No. Right? In fact, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But I noticed whenever they were pushed, like you have to compete, and there was so much pressure put on competition classes, it kind of broke them before they got there. But other things also happened. The peripheral membership collapsed.
Okay.
No, and this happened every time there was a competition, because then so much focus is put on, the handful of people who are competing, and because then the classes are majority 10 rounds of 8 minutes or something, everyone's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we had these peaks and troughs of members.
For
It is
some
awful,
members.
and nobody, most of the people we have around here, not to put too fine a point on it, they have more income, they have more money, they are professionals.
Pretty rich
They are
area
between-
of Bangkok. Yeah.
Like, this is the most expensive area of Bangkok per square foot.
Yeah, so we have a lot of corporations, offices.
They're all between sort of
headquarters,
30 and 50
embassies.
years old on average. They don't need to go in with a black eye, they don't need to go in with a broken leg,
100%, yeah.
they don't need to go in with a twitchy ankle, they don't need any of this. They want to come, they want to learn something that's cerebral. If they wanted to just come in and brawl, well then they join Fight Club, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'd be down doing Muay Thai
Right.
somewhere or something.
Whenever you come in and you're like, well, I've got the black belt, that somehow means, it doesn't mean shit, right? There's a lot of people out there who have a belt and suck, right? And it could be a blue belt, it could be a purple belt, it could be a brown belt. And there's a lot more work to do once you get there, but it's that you have to embrace that is so. And fortunately, I've had a lot of positive people in my time. When I first started in London, it was Caesar, or then if I was going anywhere else, it was Hodgers, and it was his father. And if I went to California, I had some great people.
A lot of great gyms in California.
Actually, somebody who surprised me was, do you know the Budo videos?
No.
From years ago. So Budo videos was the first, I think the first thing they did was the 2009 IBJJF no-gi. So they were the first one to kind of do it and put it online and whatever. So one of the guys that initially started that, and I don't even think he did jiu-jitsu at the time, maybe he did, but it was his wife originally got him into it, was Jake. And then I just met a guy in California who happened to be called Budo Jake. And then he rinsed me, and I'm like, what just happened? And he was absolutely fantastic. But I've been fortunate enough to beat people like that who are just exceptionally good.
Yeah.
Right? Or I remember getting my purple belt, and then I went over and I went to the Carlson Gracie, this guy, Jason Yusuf. And again, he did the thing you showed tonight, where you step across from seated guard, you step up, tilt them over, and he just nailed me with that again. I remember going, do you want to do anything else? And he was like, no. And I got murdered continually.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest moments on the mat, when they keep catching you with the same move, the same submission, the same stuff. You kind of feel like you're in a loop and you're never going to escape it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, I've been very fortunate in that those guys have always been just very open and very welcoming, and they are those people as examples where they're always learning new stuff, and they're always trying new stuff, and there's just a constant go over there. And like at the time whenever I first met Caesar, he was a brown belt, but he started coaching when he was purple, and then I'm still seeing him learn today, and he's Jewish 4th degree. So it's just like, all right, okay, if you're still going, I can still go. That's what I've got more to learn. I think often in Thailand, the bigger problem, especially over here, is you get a lot of people traveling, and they come in like they're the rebirth of Jesus.
I have
because
brought
the
The story of Thailand. You're like, no, we heard it. We got it.
You know, because I don't think they appreciate there's already some exceptional people in Southeast Asia. You know,
Very much so.
I kind of found them on the mat in the competition.
You did. Basically, we gathered them all under one roof for you.
Yeah, they were all on my bracket.
Arno didn't help you that much.
No, he was like, sorry. He literally said, sorry.
listen, there's some people like your big man, Sean,
Yeah.
Quinn, and he's
He's
obviously coaching some no-gi stuff for us.
Yeah.
And he came in and I was like, oh, fuck. And I was like, this is going to be fun. And then he came in and it was just like, oh my God. And then...
Let's specify something. Sean is about 2 meters, 140 kilos of pure muscle.
No. He's 105 kilograms
Of pure muscle.
105, but he looks like 130 minimum.
He weighed in at 106.
Wow.
But he's
How
very
dense he is.
He is very dense.
Indeed. That I think a brown belt, a very competent brown belt, is often as
been
a
training
better
about
coach than a black belt.
5 years, brown belt.
Yep.
And I don't care about the size. He landed with me in the tightest inside heel hook that anyone's landed on me.
I saw his shin. It was
My whole leg went white
Yeah.
with the pressure, and he stopped bang on. I'm like, all right. And it's like something you just have to kind of take that in stride, right? You can't, and you can either kind of shell up and look at it like, oh, or you can figure out what's going on, and you have to kind of play around with those things.
a lot of people will come to this region to do the Southeast Asian Trail, and so we get quite a lot of visitors into the gym. And one of the things that we love is it challenges. Now, say for black belt, very very good black belt. But if everybody else is brown and below, and you're used to our game, there's what do you get from that? But when we get in visitors, like your good self over here, it challenges the higher belts. It brings in some new techniques, some new background, new body types. All of these things are really valuable for the membership, and that's one of the reasons that we're so welcoming of visitors. And I think a lot of gyms miss the value that visitors bring to the mats, and it for us as well. Like say that brown belt I'm talking about, he came in as a visitor and put that heel hook on, and I went, I'm going to ask him to teach. Whatever that was, we need to know what that was. And he's been kind enough to come in. He's now part of our coaching team. Like your good self, you wandered in on a Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, I'm like, this man, purple belt my arse. That is not purple belt wrestling. And then you were kind enough to come and teach everybody something.
I would have loved to be a bit more in Bangkok, to have a bit more time and actually teach like a no-gi wrestling
Next time,
class.
please.
Next time, if I'm ever back in Bangkok, which I really hope I will be.
Well, we will too.
We will do it. Yeah.
But the Japan question was going to be based on, if you're going through Tokyo, there's in Shinjuku, there's a place called Triforce.
Yeah.
And I went and trained in there, and I asked the guy, he's the head instructor, and I was like, so what's your name? And he went, Coach. And I went, no, what's your name? And he went, Coach. And then I realized he's saying Koji. So the accent. But he's fantastic. So if you get to go through Tokyo, go to Triforce and see if you can get.
I will definitely take you on that.
He did, I can't remember, he was like national level Japan judo in university, and then he just got ultra obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I think he got his black belt in like 4 years.
Yeah, that's what those guys need. When you're high level judo, you just need to get obsessed with jiu-jitsu and kill everybody else after that.
And he was like, was so, and he's tiny. He's like, he's maybe, I would say 60 kilos maybe. And I was like, oh dear God, this is absolutely brilliant. And then I noticed he's the #1 ranked IBJJF. So even though he could be doing like Masters 2 or 3, he still does adult.
Yeah, because he's a savage and he doesn't care.
But he's the nicest guy, and his wife teaches there as well. I think she's first degree.
She's a competitor as well.
Yeah, so she's ranked really well. So if you get to go in there, great guy.
I will take you on that.
I have no idea of his English skills. I have no idea at all.
We can
fantastic class, great class, super guy. You get really good fun over there.
We're going to call it the Panda Questionnaire, although I stole it from somebody else, which was James Lipton from inside Outdoor
I
Studios.
was wondering if it was going to be that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I made it my own. I made it towards stuff that I
Do you know what
really
these
care
are?
about. Inside Actor Studio with James Lipton. Rest in peace. He passed away, but fantastic. You have a massive
Some of the
amount
best
of videos.
interviews ever.
Yeah, with actors,
Absolutely.
very famous actors, but very personal, very touchy, which is great for, or not that great for you, depending how you're going to find the questions. Okay,
We'll
great. So let's go for the
I'm
first
going to
one.
sit here and hold my water.
Now
I'll
it's a
help you
bit,
if you get stuck.
you're going to see it's a bit more light than you kind of imagine. What's your favorite martial art?
Oh, I'm going to have to say jiu-jitsu, aren't
You
I?
better, I'll throw you out.
What's your least favorite martial art?
Oh, I don't really know.
I have a controversial answer to that.
Do you? What's your controversial answer?
It's the MMA crowd, because they always have staph infections.
Well, that's not. Do you
I know it's not a martial art, but it is a martial art. It's all the martial arts, really, isn't it? But it's MMA crowd are a bit dodgy.
Okay,
Let's say
let's
that.
move on. Let's move on
This
for
is
the
why we
third
don't
one.
let me answer questions. I say the wrong thing.
Listen, there's
I
no
don't know.
wrong
You
things over
can
here.
put that out. Why
You
is
may
that?
say the right thing and we'll sell some more soap.
Is 100%.
That's why we have
I
some.
said it again.
For anybody in Southeast Asian countries, hexene people, or chlorhexidine if you're not here, fucking use it.
Yeah.
Once a month, right?
Yeah,
Treat yourself like something's god awful, like you've fallen in the river.
yeah.
Amazing. That's a great advice for hygiene. What motivates you?
I don't know really, I'm just
Okay, that's a great question. That is a great answer. What unmotivates you?
Ooh. Fuckwits.
I was going to say fuckery would be surely
Absolute
that's your answer.
muppets.
By the
where I
way-
just want to shake my head.
Food is what motivates him.
It's not food.
Working on his pressure game, clearly. What?
What exercise do you love?
Weights.
Wait. Any exercise particularly? Any, like specifically?
Deadlifts.
Deadlifts. Great. What exercise do you hate?
Nordic curls.
I found out that it was super cool, but so hard, so painful. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Anything to do with abs.
Anything with abs? Any
Fucking-
Nordic curls?
It's just stupid.
Yeah, those muscles, they're terrible.
Like that thing you roll out and stuff. Is there anything less dignified? What?
You have two of those things in your gym.
Yeah, because people want them.
Don't
They
you
are
don't?
very, very good. They are very, very
Nobody
good.
wants this.
They do. It's you need to
I like that one.
You
Do
need to
you?
learn how
Yeah.
to create extension through your.
It's great for
interior
the
routine.
extension, yeah. As a wrestler, you're gonna need it.
But part of me is like, why am I skydiving on my floor?
It seems very 1950s.
And you can crucifix yourself.
You crucifix yourself. I'll crucify you if you don't get on to the next question.
Oh.
Go on, so.
What's your favorite?
Rapid fire. Full.
Two Irish people.
What's your favorite technique?
God, the gym would love to have, they'd be volunteering so many answers on this one. Go on. Wait till I tell them what you answered.
Favorite technique.
Go on.
Letting you think you've got a thing.
Okay, that's a technique. Yeah, that's a technique. What's your least favorite technique?
Anything fast. Anything that feels like cheating.
Okay. What's the main?
By
This
which I mean,
one.
If I can't hold it and put it on over, like, say, a 10-second period, I don't consider myself to have gotten it. Or if I have to do something cheeky, like slap on I don't mind, like, wrist locks. I don't mind wrist locks.
Yeah.
But I do mind those
Yeah,
things.
they're too fast,
If
yeah.
you're going to put them on, put it on slow, look them in the eyes,
And let
and
them
let
know.
them know.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Number 9. This one is more of you as a coach. What is the main quality an athlete has to become a champion, in your opinion?
Honest self-reflection.
Okay, that's a great answer. And the last one. This one is gonna hit a bit close home. What advice would you give to a younger self?
Don't worry.
An amazing answer. Guys, thank you very much for doing this.
I want to know what her answer would be.
Thank you very much for having me.
Don't
over
say
here.
yes.
No, you don't.
That was amazing. I don't have words, maybe 100%. I don't have words to thank you for everything you've done for me during this past weeks. I've been in, as we said, as a visitor. I feel very welcome. So if you're ever in Bangkok, you're looking for some bang for your, just make sure you come over here. You're gonna have a great class. You're gonna have a great coach. If he's not, like he says, around the world.
Well, this is why we have multiple coaches, loads of backgrounds, different nationalities.
You're always gonna have
Everyone is
somebody here,
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, just make sure you pay a visit to Ohana. Guys, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to see you again in the future.
Yes, please.
See you in the next video. Panda out.